Hi there. This video is going to explain the real reason why smart meters are being heavily promoted by electricity suppliers and by the government. Demand side response is the real reason why they're being promoted. So what do we mean by demand side response? What we mean by that is via smart meters which are connected to the mobile phone network run by DCC, a private mobile phone network, and your smart meter communicates across that network, wide area network, by text message. So suppliers, if they've access to it, can both write and read information from that smart meter, such as your electricity usage, effectively in real time. A tool for lowering household energy bills. Disingenuous straight off. How can you possibly lower energy bills where what they're doing for renewables, adding renewables into what used to be a simple linear system with centralized power stations, gas, coal, oil even, and nuclear, and create a complex spider's web of renewables integrated into the grid is going to cost and has cost and is costing massive amounts of money just on the infrastructure alone. So your household electricity bills are never coming lower unless some sanity comes back into the thinking. What appears to be driven now is it's driven by ideology from climate change and from CO2 emissions, if people think that that's actually a problem. Some interesting snippets in this document. Here, infrastructure investment required to meet increasing electricity demand. Very easy to research that electricity demand in the UK has been falling since the 1970s. More efficient electrical equipment, and the UK has lost a lot of its heavy industry, so it has been falling. Why would it be increasing? The reason it's going to increase if consumers uptake heat pumps and EV cars, where there's EV cars, electric cars, where there's still a massive question mark over that, then they're going to have to be connected to charge in the grid and use the grid electricity. And yes, that will increase demand. That infrastructure is to implement, mesh and integrate renewable energy systems into the grid. So the grid will effectively become the spider's web of substations and different kinds of generation sources. Rollout of smart meters is an important component to meet smart demand side response because they measure electricity in real time. Absolutely true, as explained over the DCC network. So it gives suppliers effective control over your meter, and they can switch the meter on and off, and they can also implement time of use tariffs to force people off the grid at times where peak demand times, typically between 5 and 7 p.m. during a weekday, and they can control that through time of use tariffs so that they can balance up the grid. Even politicians this week, our esteemed Prime Minister is now committed to building new gas-fired power stations. Why? Because the politicians are beginning to wake up that if they don't provide adequate backup supply to intermittent, non-dispatchable renewables, then there's going to be blackouts. That's not particularly good for getting re-elected. They even admit here, when this wind is not blowing and the sun is not shining, yeah, anybody can work that out. They are intermittent. So they're even talking about funding new gas power stations because it has to be backed up. Now, nobody is disputing that the technology works. We've got a particularly windy day here in the UK, and we've got quite a lot of generation off wind. I'm not disputing that. Very low gas. Yeah, that is good. But the problem is this is not consistent. You get consistent generation of nuclear, consistent of gas, but not of wind and solar. So even our politicians are beginning to wake up that you're going to have massive investment in backing up renewables with gas power stations and have more of them. Who pays for that? It's not the government. They don't have any money. Taxpayers pay for it, or ultimately electricity bills pay for it. Bill payers pay for it. And that's the principal reason to integrate renewable technology into the grid as to why your electricity bill has gone up 3 times, at least 3 times in the last dozen years. Solar and wind is heavily subsidized through CFDs, contracts for difference, and renewable obligations. And that price for electricity is way higher than it needs to be. And now they've penalised gas generation through carbon taxes that are all really hidden in there, and making generation from gas power stations double what it actually needs to be. Thank you for watching. Hope that's been enlightening. Please pass on any comments and subscribe.